Hi, friends. Hope you're doing well. Some stuff is coming out about the hostages being released in Israel. Seen some that are already that's already happening, which is wonderful news. It's showing some of the various hostages being released back to their families. So far, what I've seen anyway, it's three hostages have been released, and I'm gonna click on one of those just so we can kind of see it. And yeah, I think it's fantastic
Of
news.
the other major stories we're following after more than a
Here it
year
is.
in
Hopefully, you can
captivity,
hear
three
this.
hostages are back in Israel tonight. Their release taking place as part of the ceasefire agreement, which is currently in effect. President Biden says they appear to be in good health. Also, as part of that agreement, 90 Palestinian prisoners are expected to be released tonight. Fox 5's Michelle Ross has been following everything that's been.
So three has been released, and then they're releasing 90 hostages or 90 prisoners, not hostages, prisoners of Hamas, Hezbollah, whatever. Well, obviously they're released back out there to do craziness, but it shows you the difference. That the fact that anybody would say that that's a good thing is terrible. That you're basically releasing these guys to go back there and do more killing and oppression and violence. But Israel will have to deal with them militarily, most likely, and as they're released. But again, definitely be praying for the families and the hostages that they'll be all returned, all of them, not some of them, but all of them. And the fact that Hamas has any, which just proves that they did have them, shows you what despicable, horrible human beings they really are, an organization. And the Palestinians that support them, so-called Palestinians that support Hamas or any other groups that kidnap human beings and take and hide them and deprive them of their family, and just the support of the murder that took place on October 7th. I mean, just the horrible events the atrocities that took place there against the Jews. I mean, all over a lie, which is that the land belongs to the so-called Palestinians when that's not the case. They're just migrating Arabs who settled there. It's just horrible, and anybody would support that. I say shame on you. I mean, the evil that you just because somebody tells you that that's true does not mean it's true. Uh, So yeah, we definitely need to pray for the hostages. If somebody came along and kidnapped your family members, you'd want everybody to support you. And the fact that Hamas has done that and then claims that they have a right to do it because somebody stole their land, when in fact the opposite is true. Historically, the land belongs to the Jewish people, has always been there. If you do any archaeological dig, you find Jewish artifacts, Jewish writing, Jewish literature, Jewish everything. It's like it belongs to Jewish people. And the fact that these so-called Palestinians, they're simply migrated Arabs who settled in that land. That's all they are. People forget that there is no Palestinian people, no Palestinian culture, no Palestinian anything. It's a contemporary creation after the Balfour Declaration and ultimately the establishment by the mandate of the British Mandate. That was what happened. So the fact that people believe this lie is crazy to me. That you can be that foolishly led, that you support the people who are kidnapping and killing human beings and think that they're the ones who have the just cause. I mean, you have to literally have some kind of something seriously off to be able to do that. But yeah, so definitely be praying for Israel, pray for their families, pray for the people that were kidnapped, and yeah, let's support them, support Israel, support the hostages and their families as much as you possibly can in any way you can. So and definitely, hopefully, the nations around the world and their leaders will support Israel and the continued release of this. And then after this is all over, hopefully, still hold Hamas and the Palestinian people accountable, because after the end of the day, they're the ones who supported Hamas, voted them in, and then and their sons are the ones who are serving in their militias to do the killing and kidnapping. So, they're not innocent by any means. I'm not saying guilty by association, but certainly a lot of them are guilty by association and support of them. And some of them should be, definitely. I honestly, just being honest about it, I think that the so-called Palestinians should be deported back to their lands of their Arab lands where they traditionally come from, and Israel and America should support Israel in the annexation of Gaza and Judea and Samaria, and annex it and make that part of the sovereignty of Israel and make that a complete done deal. And also the Golan Heights. America already at one time said we completely acknowledged their sovereignty over it. And then Biden came in and tried to say, reverse that. It's like, let's make it a done deal with Congress and everything else. Put that through law. Everybody just needs to support it. Gaza, Judea, Samaria, and the Golan Heights, and all of Israel, contemporarily done. Sovereignty of Israel, one state, that's it. And they have the right to deport the existing Palestinians back to their historical lands. And if you want to create a Palestinian state, create one somewhere. You basically can use eastern Jordan. You could take a portion of that land. You could take a portion of Saudi Arabia, and you could take a portion of Iraq and a portion of Syria. You could carve out a section of land there for the so-called New Palestine and let them have that land there. It's far enough away from Israel where they won't be attacking Israel, and they will be surrounded by their fellow Arab brothers and sisters who supposedly support them, and all of them have a horse in the race since they're the ones that helped create the problem. It was the Palestinian nation or the Islamic nations or Muslim nations that created the so-called Palestinian issue by declaring them to be a specific people when in fact they knew that that wasn't the case. And so, let them also have a horse in the race, and they can give up some of their land to create this so-called New Palestine state, and that would solve that issue. But to force Israel to do it is wrong, and it's not going to work. It hasn't worked. It's not going to work. So anyway, that's where I would lean. Probably won't happen, but that's where I would lean, and that's what I would say. We need to support Israel. We need to support Jewish people in their land. That is their land. And they're just trying to survive and build a society while many of the people around them, unfortunately, because of their ideology and their indoctrination, Islamic indoctrination, believe that the best thing they can do is kill Jews and pillage and rape, it seems like, and do evil rather than build a society, So unfortunately, that's where a lot of them are at. So pray for them, and we'll keep our eye watched on what's happening with the whole release of the hostages. God bless.